Estás viendo Canal América, televisión dominicana para el mundo.
Sometimes life can be so damn hard. You don't know where to go. Everything keeps falling apart. Yeah. You try to do your best, but only God knows that you've given everything you've got, but the world takes you down. You just keep moving on. Let your fears.
Welcome to a Time for Truth show on this beautiful Friday in July. So, with so much going on in our country in the last year and a half, one begins to wonder, what can I do about it? I'm busy, I don't have the time. And today we have someone who I don't know how makes so much time for so many different humanitarian activities to help this country at a time where there's so much division and so much conflict. It's my honor today to have on our show Bobby Zorro Hunter. He's earned so many accolades both on and off the court. World-class basketball athlete. He was honored as one of the 50 greatest players in the Rucker Pro League. And he played on the world-famous Harlem Globetrotters with Meadowlark Lemon, Curly Neal, and Wilt Chamberlain. He was elected to the Springfield Basketball Hall of Fame, the Bob Douglas Hall of Fame, the Brooklyn USA Hall of Fame, the Philadelphia Hall of Fame, and I don't think there's any other Hall of Fames to be elected to, or he would have those two. Mr. Hunter was assistant basketball coach of Central Connecticut University, Long Island University, Boston College, and Stanford University. Chairman of the retired Harlem Globetrotter organization, editor of the ex-Globetrotters newsletter. Bobby has organized numerous basketball clinics around the U.S. and the world to help youth. And off the court, Bobby works in many other activities, including being co-founder of Each One Teach One basketball program, president and founder of Empowerment Through Recreation, world-class fusion artist, president and founder of Art Against Violence, director of the National Homeless Project and Construction Program, co-director of Shovel and a Job, ambassador of Drug Free World Educational Program, and he is our guest today, an engineer. If you can put Mr. Hunter on our screen, I want to welcome him. Welcome to A Time for Truth, Mr. Z. Bobby Hunter. How are you?
Hola, amigo. I'm fine. I've been taking my medication and taking my slumber goal and immune goal, and I'm walking 2 miles a day.
Sounding good.
Ready. Yes, I'm getting ready. World War III is coming. You got to be in good physical condition.
Absolutely. I was going to ask you to begin, because I'm sure a lot of people are curious. How did it come about, and how were you motivated to become a Harlem Globetrotter?
I went to see Go Man Go with my friend Pablo Robinson. And afterward, we said, we're going to be Globetrotters. After I saw Goose Tatum, Reese Goose Tatum. And I was the last Globetrotter that Abe Saperstein recruited before he passed.
Very nice. How did it feel because I'm sure many people are curious, to play with Will Chamberlain, Curly Neal, Meadowlark Lemon?
Well, it was very exciting. You know, sometimes you'd be at the height when people were laughing, people were clapping, and you were bringing joy to the world. That's a very exciting time.
I can imagine. I suppose being on the Globetrotters that have a purpose to make people happy, to go around the world making peace, how much did that contribute to what you ended up doing later on?
It showed me the way. Once we were in South America and they stopped the war, and there was one side on the other side on the stands and the other side on the other side of the stand, and they stopped the war for 2 days. But that was a very powerful feeling. And the earlier Globetrotters went with Eisenhower during the Cold War. So we know what ambassadors mean, and we know what we can do as Globetrotters. We're like the Switzerland of basketball universe.
I think that's very well put and very appropriate. I wanted to ask you, you have so many humanitarian programs that it's difficult to start with just one, but let's start out with one that you have, which is called Art Against Violence. Please tell our viewers about your program, the mission, what you're doing.
Art Against Violence is a number of athletes that are artists, and we take our paintings and we sell them, and we're looking to help sponsor recreational programs, because recreational programs has a mentoring, and mentoring, I found out, has been the sure way of helping a young man or young woman.
Very nice. And I think you work with in your program with Art Against Violence. Is it the glass or is it all kinds of art? How do you determine what you use?
I myself, I'm a glass fusionist, and I've settled for that because the glass is very exciting, not only in the reflections that it shows, but it shows a different perspective of art.
I've seen some of your work. It's quite amazing. Who have you done your glass fusion works of? What people did?
Well, I did Earl Lloyd, who's the Jackie Robinson of basketball, and I did Muhammad Ali, Meadowlark Lemon, Curly Neal, and Tupac Shakur. And his sold for something like $2,000 to a Long Island group.
Very nice. You know, I was looking and I see that you've organized some programs with world-class athletes, one of them being drug education for youth in this country with Drug Free World. How's that going with that?
It's going, it's been impeded by the virus, but we're ready to get started again. And, you know, the virus, it helped people think and concentrate more on what was more important. And after this COVID is gone, the drugs will still be there. For instance, Flakka, Flakka, which is being ignored. It's a drug that can be mixed with any drug. It's a drug that sends a person into a false security. It's a drug where they're tricking drug addicts. So we have to stop these people. We have to at least help cure the people in which they have affected. And then they're approaching young kids to be drug dealers. So we have to draw a line and fight Flakka. Right now, I have a brilliant doctor, Dr. Bruce Leard, who has a cure for Flakka. The government doesn't have a cure for Flakka. The government doesn't have a clue, but we do. So we're going to step ahead. And we're not looking for government funding. We're looking to step ahead and help people. So I have a lozenge that can be taken 3 times a day that will set you in the mind where all I then have to do is have a proper counseling, proper physical condition, proper eating, and you can be back on your feet in no time flat. So I'm extremely happy about that.
I can imagine, and you know, it's something that's very valuable because unfortunately a lot of the programs out there that rehabilitate drug addicts end up having the drug addict take methadone, Suboxone, and different medicines for life. So you really wonder what kind of rehabilitation is it when we substitute one drug for another drug in a person's life. I want to ask you, because I see that you're organizing some other programs, and so I want to ask you first about this Art and Film Festival for World Peace.
This is very exciting. Everyone who has come near it has been very excited and ready to go. It's the dream of Lou Gossett and Andrew Young, and it will be held in Georgia. It is the Art and Film Festival for Peace. And the whole idea is bringing people from all over the world in one circle where we'll be talking about peace. There will be art, there will be song, there will be dance, there will be film. But the whole idea is bringing peace to each other, because we will not be able to fight the different COVID diseases that are coming out and that will be coming and will be attacking us unless we are all together. Survival is unity.
Absolutely. You know, I'm sure a question that the viewers have is, how do you find the time in your busy life to do all these projects? What's the secret?
My girlfriend said the same thing, and I told her as soon as I finish the next project, we're going to go on vacation. So I think that was about 10 years ago. But I concentrated on the art so diligently that I freed myself. Right now, I'm working on Freedom Art Film Festival, which will be a 10-day event in Georgia, starting in Savannah. And I think that we can really get some things going with people who understand what peace is and what we need to do in order to survive on this earth. We've segregated ourselves long enough, and we see what it has gotten us. It has gotten us wars. It's gotten us disease. It's gotten us hate. So all we have to do is love and protect each other.
That's so true. And I see, one of the other things I see is that you seem to almost be like an uncle, you know, priest, rabbi, minister, humanitarian, and you counsel so many people. How did that come? How did that come about?
Well, I had a mentor. His name was Holcomb Rucker, and he spoke to me in a manner where I could hear him. Not that I was deaf, but you know, young people sometimes can't hear. And I wanted to know what he did to me so I could do it to others, in the manner he spoke, in the tone that he had, to get me from here to there. So that's what I've been doing. I've been rewarding Holcomb Rucker and imitating him. And it's very exciting to do. And right now, we're working on a process where we're going to be teaching other young men how to mentor.
Very
in fact,
important.
I have an idea from you. You know, Dr. Ben is a dentist, and it's very difficult. Well, it's delightful to have someone that can fix your teeth and read your mind at the same time.
You're also very good at humor. You're a very multifaceted human being. You're quite amazing. I was going to ask you, there's another program that actually you've done in combination a little bit with Drug Free World called Each One Teach One. How did this program come about?
The Each One Teach One program came from the Rucker, and we found out the great influence we had on kids back in the late 60s. So we started the Each One Teach One program. And there was a lady named Alma John said, if you see one, teach one. So Bob McCullough said, each one, teach one. And him and Freddie Crawford are the masterminds behind this. And what we've been doing is like Butch Lee, Earl Manigault, Joe Hammond, Pee Wee Kirkland. We've got these people also to do the same Each One Teach One. So Each One Teach One has spread it around the nation. And it's the mere fact in the manner you say it, people understand. Dr. J did the first Each One Teach One clinic.
Interesting. And what happens at these clinics? What do you concentrate at the Each One Teach One? What happens there?
Well, we concentrate on education, understanding athletics, and I myself, I work on honesty and manners. To tell you how this manners goes, I had a young lady hit up 2 foul shots, and she got $20, a T-shirt, and a hat. And she turned to me and she said, "Thank you." So then I gave her another $20. So I'm going through the airport, and this young girl came with a hand out and looked me in the eye, and she said, "Thank you." So it took me a little while to understand that she saw a clip of the basketball clinic on TV, and she was putting it into progress. But that's what we want young people to do. We want them to follow that route. And I told them how, when I told my teacher, "Thank you and please," that she said, "Well, Bobby, I'll help you with your reading." And until that point, I thought the teacher was against me. So after that, every teacher I went and said, "Thank you and please," all the way to college.
You're very funny. This show is not a commercial show in terms of to promote or market programs, but you do so many good programs. And what I'm curious about, if a viewer out there wants to make a donation, where would he send it to, Mr. Hunter?
He can send it to Art Against Violence.
Very good. And I would think that's pretty... artagainstviolence.com, you said?
Yes.
Very good. I was looking over your bio, and I was wondering, all of these coaching positions that you had with the universities, how did you find that in terms of with the athletes?
Oh, it was, it was just a taller Each One Teach One. I remember at Boston College, we had academics was, what I did was I got my van, I put the athletes in the van, and I drove to the teacher's house. So we had study hall at the library, but I had study hall at the teacher's house. It was a very fun to have a young man call you and say, "Bobby, thank you for your help." As I spoke to John Bagley the other day, and it reminds me, he was supposed to go to summer school, and his parents was having a little problem with it. So I explained to who I was. I says, "Noah, see the tall black guy you see on the screen on TV?" I said, "That's me. Now I want John on that train early, 7:30 in the morning." It was good to return the education and the mentoring that you receive to someone else.
Makes total sense. When you dealt with the athletes and you look at the youth today, what do you see as a problem that we need to improve in our country?
Well, for one thing, we have to erase the prejudice which is going in the community. And the other is we have to erase the drugs that are coming into the community, because the drugs hold up the education and split the families apart. So you have a devil coming in your community, and you have enough problems in handling your community without the devil in the community. And I don't know why some communities are allowing this. Do you know that, for instance, a flocka can be mixed with an opioid. So you can be taking more flocka than opioid and not know it. For $1, people are doing sinful things for money. And we have to stop that process of our lives and get back to honor thy neighbor. One of the
Makes total sense.
Yeah, one of the projects that we're right now, and I'm trying to get you on the call. We're having a Zoom this Wednesday at 4 o'clock, and it's called the Regeneration of Churches. Churches are overheated in the South. Churches are freezing in the North. So we have a solar company in which is going to donate. And what it means is that whatever the cost is, they'll split it in half. Then we have a sponsor that's going to do something very unique. He's going to take churches that are closed and reopen them. And not only reopen them, but help them to go forward. So what good is picking someone off the floor and not having somewhere for them to sit? So what is going to be done is also we have a gentleman from a bank with cryptocurrency that is going to show the church how to manage economics. So I think this is a great thing, because without churches, where would we be?
Nowhere. Without spirituality, man is not cultured, and doesn't have regulation, doesn't have respect for a higher order, and for his family of man. You're totally right about that.
I'm just so happy about this. Even Jesse Jackson came on a call. How do I say even Jesse Jackson? But we're having a large amount of people come on this call because they see the future of this. And with churches closing, that's going to cause a problem. You don't feel it now, but later on, it's going to really put a dent into our community.
Absolutely. You bring up a very good point as we get near the end of the show here, is that if you look at the countries worldwide that have become either dictatorial, fascistic, or they call it communist, although it's more of a fascism and dictatorship of one man running the country under the guise of communism. And that's that they eliminate religions at the beginning. And that happened in many of these countries, in Russia, in China. And with that lack of religion, there's a treatment of man like an animal, which is horrific.
Yes.
I want to thank you for coming on the show. We only have a little bit, maybe about a half a minute left. Is there anything quick you want to tell the viewers before we end off?
Yes. On October 15th in Atlanta, we're honoring John Lewis, Andrew Young, Jesse Jackson, Curly Neal, Senator Gator Rivers, Jalene Miller, the grand niece of Mary Bacall Bethune, and somebody else. Dr. Ben Fialco. And for all the work that he's done, and masterful work in teaching young people how to teach other young people about the truth about drugs.
Well, Mr. Robert Z. Hunter, it's always a pleasure to have you, to speak with you. Hopefully many people come to the event down in Georgia in October. and it was a pleasure having you on the show. Unfortunately, we run out of time. So for those of you out there watching A Time for Truth, this is Dr. Bernard Fialkoff. Mr. Hunter and I wish you a very good weekend, and we'll see you on the next episode on Monday. Be well.
Yes, huevos la mañana.
Sometimes life can be so damn hard. You don't know where to go. Everything keeps falling apart. Yeah. You try to do your best, but only God knows that you've given everything you've got, but the world takes you down. You just keep moving on. Let your feet